guys about another makeup look. I think that this is a start of a new video, so if you guys are new to these types of videos, basically I tell you guys what I wore each day within like a week's time period of the makeup looks that I wear almost every day, because I wear makeup pretty much every single day. So I did work today. Oh my god, I worked 2 days in a row. It's like a friggin' miracle. And then the next day I work is this coming Sunday. Today's Friday, so I work Sunday. Hopefully I'll get some more shifts after that before I go away. So for my eyes, I just prime my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I just use my Dewdrop lip oil and then set my eyes with my Dior powder. Love this Backstage powder. And then for the eyes today, I kind of took a combo of 3 different palettes today. I mostly used the mattes from the Citrus Punch palette from Simply Posh though. And again, these mattes are so freaking good. So I'll just tell you guys the mattes that I used in this palette first. So I used Quench in the crease, then I darkened up the crease more with Grapefruit, and then I used Blood Orange on the outer corners. And those are the only 3 shades that I used from this palette, but you know, just to dip into the palette again. And literally this eyeshadow is just as vibrant as it was this morning when I put it on. Like, I mean, I didn't put it on in the morning as I'm like dipping my hand into a shade for some reason. I put it on, I did my makeup around 1, and it's now 8:30 at night, and the hot pink is still just as intense as when I first put it on. Like, I've never had buildable mattes like this before that are just so intense throughout the entire day that are as good as these. Like, these are fantastic mattes. I might be more blown away by the mattes in here than I am with the shimmers. I mean, the shimmers are stunning, but the matte formula really is impressive to me. So that's what I used from this palette. And then I went into the Ace Beauté Aura palette because I wanted to use a pink shimmer on my lid, and I hadn't used this shade Gleam yet, so I put that shade all over my lid. Like, I already had a vision of what I wanted to do today. So I used that shade Gleam, and it's such a beautiful, like, pinky, almost like purpley shimmer, but it's gorgeous. So, and this lasted so well on the eyes. So I've just been so impressed between these 2 palettes. And then I just took a tiny bit of the Alice in Wonderland palette from ColourPop. I wanted to use 2 shades from this initially, but then the only shade I ended up using was the shade Very Merry on Birthday, and I just popped that one on my inner corners, and it's such a stunning inner corner highlight. Like, the lighter shimmers from ColourPop are some of my all-time favorites, and like I said before, the star of the show of this palette is definitely the shimmers, not the mattes, because I wanted to take Talking Flowers and put it on my lower lash line, but then it was just so ridiculously light that it just really wasn't really showing up that well at all. So there wasn't really any point of putting it on. So I just went over it with the matte shade from the Aura palette in the shade Glamour. And that's the only matte that I haven't used yet from this palette. So I've used 4 of the shimmers from this palette. I've actually technically used all the shades in this palette. I just haven't used Moonlight on my lid yet. But I've used all the other shimmers now, and I've used all the mattes at this point because I put this one on the lower lash line, and that just gave me the pop that I needed, and I thought it just looked so pretty. But since, like, the pink shade wasn't showing up from the Alice palette, I kind of went in a little heavy underneath my eyes, so I kind of cleaned it up before I told you guys my makeup look, because I had to clean up my concealer underneath because it had transferred the shadow a lot underneath my eyes at work. So that was the only thing that was annoying me at work. And then for my waterline, I used the LA Girl liner in the shade White because I just wanted something just to add a little bit of brightness. And then I just used my Essence lash primer. And then for my mascara, I used the Fenty Beauty Hella Thick mascara. And I usually don't normally have this problem with this mascara, but for some reason today it was transferring onto my top of my crease. So, of course, magically, it's not there anymore. I mean, I did blend it away a little bit just with my brush with a little bit of the product of the shadow that I used. Can I explain things like without like saying like 5 million things? I used just whatever was left over on my brush and just like blended that away before I filmed this. So it just like went away in like 2 seconds, but I don't know why it was doing that today. I usually don't have that problem. And then I just used my Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And then for my complexion products, I used the Do It Spray, of course, and then my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And then for my face, I used my Very Valentino Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 20. But I think I shouldn't use the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with this because this really dried out my skin today, but I don't think it's the foundation. I just think it's just the state of my skin right now. I mean, my skin, of course, looks better right now, but I felt that the Makeup by Mario foundation looked way smoother on my skin yesterday. I think it's just better for when my skin is really dry because this kind of clings to dry patches on my face. So I probably will continue to use like more lightweight foundations until my face is like not in this state anymore, but I still love this foundation. It's just like I don't think it's that great in the condition that my skin is in right now. And then for the concealer, I used my Urban Decay Stay Naked Quickie Concealer in the shade 10NN. I still really like this concealer, but again, I might not use this concealer with the state of my skin, but it's still a beautiful full coverage concealer. That one is full coverage. Like the Tarte and the LYS both claim to be full coverage, but this one really is full coverage, and it's beautiful. I love it. And then I just set my under eyes with the Pat McGrath Labs powder, and then just set my face with the Dior powder again. And then for my bronzer, I used the Pat McGrath bronzer in the shade Naked Desire. I try to use this at least once or twice a week. I love this bronzer. It's really, really beautiful on the skin. And then for my blush, I used the ColourPop Lizzie McGuire blush in the shade You Are Magnifico. It's just a really gorgeous hot pink color. And when it gets warmer outside, that's the time that I like to bring out my hot pink blushes because I love wearing hot pink blushes in the spring and summertime when the weather gets warmer. And then for my highlighter, I use the Maybelline Master Chrome by Face Studio highlighter in the shade Molten Rose Gold. I hadn't used it in a while, and it's a really beautiful like pinky highlight. And then I just set my face with my Milk Makeup setting spray. And then I just set my brows with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my liner, I'm not sure where I put my liner. I think I put it back. Hold on one second. Okay, so for my liner, I used the Wet n Wild Gel Lip Liner in the shade Pink Electro. And then for my lipstick, Caitlin, speak English. My lipstick, I went in with the Alice in Wonderland Lippy by ColourPop in the shade, I don't have the shade in front of me. Oh my god, Caitlin. It's on the box. It's not on the actual packaging, which is a little bit annoying. But I do keep this on display, so I always have the box with me. So the lipstick is called Most Curious. So I used the hot pink lipstick in here. I mean, it's not really hot pink, but it is a bolder lip color than I thought it was. And I really wanted to wear it again, so I wanted to wear it today. So it's just a really pretty pink lippy. And then for my gloss, I use the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in the shade Pretty Please, which is a stunning, like, hot pink gloss. I still absolutely love the formula of the Fenty Beauty glosses, so I used one today and one yesterday. Because I do like using gloss on top of lipstick during, like, the spring and summertime, and I want to use more of my glosses again, but I probably shouldn't wear it with something this bold again because it was bleeding around my lips today. But yeah, that's it. So I'll see you guys for another look tomorrow. Okay, so hey there guys. I wanted to tell you guys about another look today. I went into a different palette today. I didn't use the same palettes that I've been using for the past like week. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. Just give me 1 second. I just want to blend this a little better. think it looks super pretty though, so I don't really feel like doing any more. So I just primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer and then just used my Dewdrop lip oil, and then I set my eyes with my Urban Decay Stay Naked powder. And then for my eye look today, I used my Cosmic Brushes Muse palette. I just really wanted to use it today. I have been really wanting to do like an all green look with this palette. I can't remember if I actually did do that for my first look that I did with the palette, like for my first impressions. I just know the shimmer that I went in with today was the shimmer that I used for my first impressions video. How did I get lipstick on my laptop? So this is what I went in with today. I love this palette so much. So I started with the shade Softly in the Crease. I actually have not used this matte yet. I've used all the other mattes in here except for this one. So I used this one. Then I defined it more with the shade Filigree. And then I went in with the darkest green in the palette, which is Pine on the outer corners. And then for my lid, I went in with the center shimmer, which is Patina. And it's such a stunning green. I love it so much. And then for the lower lash line, I used Petal and a little bit of Sweet Pea, and I smudged that on the outer part. And then on the inner part of the lower lash line, I used the shade Inspire, and it's just such a gorgeous like pop of shimmer on the lower lash line. And then for my inner corners, I used the shade Luster. I was thinking about using Whisper or Muse because like there is a little bit of purple in this shirt that I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Doctor Who floral shirt, and there is a little bit of purple on the bottom, but I don't know. I just felt like using Luster instead because it's such a gorgeous like icy pinky white shimmer, so I decided to use that instead. I was going to use Muse on the inner corners, but then I went in with this, and then I was going to go in with that on the lower lash line, but I thought the other two colors kind of tied it in better. So but Kat gifted me this palette from Beauty Jacked, and I just can't thank her enough. This has become my favorite palette this year. I love it so much. So I try to use it whenever I get a chance to. And then for my brow bone, I use the shade Blonde Type from MAC. It's always the same. If a palette does not have a brow bone highlight, I always go in with that. And then I just primed my face with me spray like a pirate. I used the Do It spray from Fourth Ray Beauty, and then I just used my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And then for my foundation, I wanted to go in with a foundation that I hadn't used in a while, but I think it's expired because when I started to blend it out, it was like so dry on my face. I'm like, wait, this is like not working out. I don't know what's going on with the side of my nose. But I kind of wiped that off with a bit of a makeup wipe and then kind of dabbed my water with some water. Dabbed my water. Yeah, I dabbed my water. I dabbed my face with a little bit of water, and then I just went in with my tried and true Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear Foundation in the shade 090 Ivory. I was going to use this one anyway, but I wanted to use something that I hadn't used in a while, but that one is definitely expired. So as soon as I put this one on, it looked great. So I'm like, yeah, let me just use a foundation I know I love. And then for my concealer, of course, I went in with my Tarte Powerflex Concealer in the shade 8S Porcelain Sand. Y'all know how much I love this concealer. And then I just set my face, my under eyes and everything with the Pat McGrath Labs powder. And then I just set my face again with the Urban Decay powder. And then for my bronzer, I went in with the NYX Matte Bronzer in the shade Medium. I'm not really that crazy about how it looks right now, but I think that's just the state of my skin because my skin is still like pretty flaky around like my hairline here. It is getting a lot better though. It's just very dry sometimes, so probably should have just used the other one I was thinking about using, but I was going to use that one tomorrow anyway. And then for my blush, I went in with the Alice in Wonderland blush in the shade Oh Dear. Oh my god. I don't know why my nose is so friggin' itchy right now. But I wanted to use this like icy pink shade because obviously I wanted to do pink on the face if I was doing green on the eyes because I always do pink and green together. But this is a beautiful blush. The blushes are definitely the best part of the collection. The eyeshadow palette I'm like, I don't even like, to be honest. And then for my highlighter, I used the MAC this is a limited edition face palette that they came out with for holiday, I think like 2 years ago. This is the Star Dipped Face Compact in the shade Light. So I mixed together the two highlighters that are on the bottom. I love this palette. I try to use this palette whenever I can. And I mostly took this shade, which is called Show Gold. Yeah, Show Gold and High Sequency. Isn't Show Gold one of their singles? Anyway, it's a stunning highlighter. And then I went in with a little bit of this one over top, and it just looks beautiful. I love it. I love this formula. It's fantastic. I've always loved MAC highlighters. And then I just set my face with my Milk Makeup Spray. I think I'm going to spray just a little bit more, just because I don't want to be like hella dry. Oh, I think I need to bring my bug spray. I have to remember to bring that. And then I just set my brows with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I used, I don't know why it's a little bit crusty over here. I think that's, again, a scab. That's not my actual lipstick. So I used this shade Oh Snap by ColourPop for my lip liner. And then I used the Sigma lipstick in the shade New Mod for my lippy, because I was originally going to use the Fenty one, like this newer Fenty lipstick, and this was a good color, but I was nervous that if it was going to do that transfer thing again that it did like the first time that I wore it, so I decided to wear this one instead, because I know this doesn't do that. This one is a little bit drier though, so yeah, I gotta go. I'm going to a barbecue. I think I already said that, so yeah, bye. Okay, so hey guys, want to tell you guys about another look. So I did work today. This is like the most that I've worked in like one weekend in like a long time, because I literally have no shifts after this, but my assistant manager is trying to put me on this coming Wednesday, so at least I got one more shift before I go away. So I prime my eyes with my Anastasia eye primer, and then just use my Dewdrop lip oil, and then set my eyes with my Urban Decay powder. And then for my eyes today, I wanted to go in with the Simply Posh palette again, because I wore this orange, like, corally tank top. It's one of my favorite tank tops I've ever gotten from there. Their tank tops really don't fit that great, so it's very rare for me to find a tank top that actually fits really good. So I really like this one, and I wore it with like white jeans and my denim ripped shirt. I love this shirt, so I wanted to use this palette, and I wanted to use the oranges today. So I just took the shade Squeeze in the crease, and I darkened it up more with Clementine. And then I just took orange on the outer corner. And then for the lid, I wanted to go in with the shade Tangerine. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I got a few compliments on my makeup today. So, not on my outfit, but on my makeup. So, like, this palette really looks amazing on the eyes. So, I can tell because I get compliments on it. And it really makes me feel good sometimes. And then for my inner corners, I used the shade Tropical. And that's all I had time to do today, because I didn't have time to do the lower lash line or anything, because I was running a bit late this morning. I really haven't been sleeping that great, so I got up at like 10:40. And then for my liner, I used the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Peach Fuzz. And then I just didn't feel like reapplying it, because I really just want to take my makeup off and relax. So sorry about that, but not sorry. And then I just used my Essence Lash Primer. And then I just went in with the same mascara as yesterday, because I love this mascara. So I used the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water mascara. And then my Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I primed with my Do It spray, of course. And then I used the Say Star Glow Glowy Super Gel Primer, because I didn't really want to use the e.l.f. one today, because it's been kind of drying out my skin more, since my skin is like pretty dry right now. So I decided to use the Say primer, and that was better to like keep my skin more hydrated throughout the day. And then for my foundation, I used the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech foundation. I love this foundation, and again, it's a lighter weight foundation for me to wear right now, even though this can be full coverage. And I got it in the shade 050 Fair Cool. I love this foundation. And then for my concealer, I just used the LYX Triple Fix Concealer, the full coverage brightening concealer in the shade LG3. It did crease a little bit under my eyes today, probably because I used the Haus Labs Skin Tech Bio Blurring Powder, because that does make my under eyes crease a little bit more. But I did go in with a bit of the Pat McGrath Labs powder to try and like help the creasiness a little bit. the creasiness. And then for my bronzer, I used my House Labs bronzer. This is the Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer in the shade Light Level 1. And then for my blush, I wanted to go in with my Patrick Ta duo. So this is the Patrick Ta Four Face Double Take Cream and Powder Blush in the shades Do We Know Her. So I took the powder blush first and popped that on. And then what Patrick Ta tells you to do is pop the cream one on top. So that's what I did, and it turned out beautiful. It lasted all day. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous highlighter, excuse me. And then for my blush. And then for my highlighter, I went in with this Kaleidos Lo-Fi Duo Blusher, and I took the highlighter in here called Igari. It's just a gorgeous, like, duochrome peachy orangey highlighter, so I wanted to use that, and it looked beautiful, so I was like, might as well use this because it's like the orange that I'm exactly looking for my highlight today. And then just to set my face, I used the Milk Setting Spray. And then set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I used the ColourPop lip liner in the shade Minute Man. I always use that lip liner. And then for my lips, I wanted to go in. I wanted to use something more orangey, but then I was like, you know what? This one looked really pretty. So I used the MAC Powder Kiss lipstick in the shade A Little Tamed. It's a really beautiful, like, more muted, bright lipstick. So I feel like it's a very wearable color. And it just always looks so pretty. So my just like corners of my mouth are a bit dry. So that's not the lipstick. It's my face. So yeah, that's it. And I'll see you guys for another look tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys. So I want to tell you guys about another look today. So I just primed my eyes with my ColourPop eye primer and used my Dewdrop lip oil and then the ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder. And then for my eyes today, I decided to go in with the ColourPop Lost in Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland palettes. And I actually pretty much used all the shades from this palette today. Like, I didn't have to pull in another matte to use. Because I really do need to use this palette a little bit more. And I did tell you guys that I was going to, like, work this palette into, you know, finish using the shimmers in here. Along with the Ace Beauté and the Simply Posh palette. So I finally got around to using it. And also, I haven't used ColourPop in, like, a week. So it's like, I really wanted to use ColourPop today. So I went into the shade That Way first in the crease, and I darkened up the crease more with Curiouser and Curiouser. And then I went in with the shimmery black on the outer corners called Nothing's Impossible, and it looks really good. And then I finally was able to dip into the shade I'm Late, which I've been really wanting to use this shade because it's such a beautiful, like, super sparkly whitish blue, like reddish sparkly shimmer. It's so gorgeous. And then I just popped down the rabbit hole into the inner corners, which is my favorite shade in the palette because it's like a stunning, like, goldish blue. And I actually really like how this look turned out. I think it looks really pretty. And then for my brow bone, I just used Blanc Type from MAC. And then for my waterline, I wanted to go in with ColourPop's gel liner in the shade Prance because it's a really beautiful, like, periwinkle blue. And I really like how this look turned out. Like, every time I actually use this palette, I really like how my eyeshadow turns out. I'm just, like, hesitant to, like, go with certain color combos because I'm not really sure what to use in the palette because of the matte selection. But it always ends up turning out better than I think it's going to. And then I just prime my lashes with my Essence Lash Primer, and then I used my ColourPop Act Natural Mascara, and then the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And I just went in with my Fourth Ray Beauty Spray, and then I used my Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer to prime my face, and then I used my Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 in the shade Fairfax, which is the lightest shade. And then for my concealer, I used the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the shade 095 Coal Ivory, and then I just set my under eyes and my T-zone with my House Labs Biotech blurring powder. And then for my face, of course, I just went in with my ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder again. And then for my bronzer, I wanted to use my older ColourPop bronzer. So this is the shade Private Party. This is a really nice bronzer still. And then for my blush, I went in with the shade Infatuation, which is this one right here from my Makeup Geek single blushes. And these are all Makeup Geek blushes. I got these like years ago, and they're still incredible on the cheeks, and I haven't used them in a while, so I just wanted to use like an easy neutral blush. It turned out a lot more warm than I thought because they have a lot more pigmentation to them than I always think that they do. But also my face is really splotchy lately because my face got super red last night. So the bronzer showed up warmer than it was supposed to, and so did the blush. But also the Makeup Geek blushes have such intense pigmentation to them, and I always forget how intense they are. And then for my highlight, I used Aether Beauty's Pure Diamond Dust. I just really wanted to use it today, and it's such a gorgeous highlighter, and I think it goes perfectly with the lid shade because it's kind of slightly cool toned, but it just looks like super sparkly and beautiful on the face. And then I just set my face again with the Do It spray and use my ColourPop Brow Blush Gel in my brows. And then for my lips, I use the ColourPop Luxe Lipstick in the shade What's Your Sign by Kathleen Lights because it's still like one of my all-time favorite lippies. So yeah, that's it. Bye. Okay, so hey there guys. I want to tell you guys about another makeup look today. I'm just trying to blend out some stuff a little bit better. But if stuff doesn't look that blended out, it's because of the state of my skin. It feels like pretty dry today. Like I've been trying to like moisturize it a lot and just try and get it back to normal. So I actually went with a oldie but a goodie palette today. So I primed my face. I primed my eyes with my ColourPop Party Proof Primer as per usual. And then my Dewdrop Lip Oil to hydrate my lips. And then I just used my ColourPop Pretty Fresh Powder. And then for my face today, for my eyes today, not my face, I used the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette because I've been missing using ColourPop this past week or so because I was testing out newer palettes. So I wanted to go back into like an older palette. And also like this was in my spring rotation for palettes I wanted to use this spring. So since I've used this palette now, I only have one more palette to use this spring, and then I will have used all of my spring palettes that I needed to use in 2023 because that's the way I like to rotate my palettes is by season. And I always make like a favorite spring palettes, favorite summer palettes, like what I want to use in that season. So this is usually always in my spring palette video. So I finally got to use it today. So I took Work It in the crease, then I darkened up the crease more with West Side, and then I used Feel Free on the outer corner, and then I used Melody all over the lid, and then I just used Blanc Type by MAC on my brow bone, and then I popped side to side on my inner corners, and that's all I used from the palette today. And I just really love this palette still. It performs so easily, and it's just a really pretty, like, goldeny toned neutral look, and I just really love this palette still. It's always been one of my favorite ColourPop palettes, and every time I actually use it, I'm like, wow, it's actually, like, still really good. And then I just primed my lashes with my Essence Lash Primer, and then I just used my LA Girl liner in the shade Brown on my waterline, and then I just used my ColourPop Level Up Mascara on the top and bottom lashes. And then for my face primer, I used, of course, my Fourth Ray Beauty Spray, the Do It spray. And then I used the Say Glowy Super Gel Star Glow Primer just to prime my face. And then for my foundation, I used the Tarte Hydra Flex Serum Foundation in the shade 12N. And then for my concealer, I used the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra Wear All Over Concealer in the shade 090. I love this concealer. And then for my powder to set my under eyes, I used the Rare Beauty powder. This is the Rare Beauty Selena Gomez powder. It's the shade Light. And then for my face, I just set it again with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder. Like, what else do I use? And then for my bronzer, I used the ColourPop Matte Bronzer in the shade Alviva Beach. I haven't used it in a couple of days, so I wanted to use it today. So I just used that. And then for my blush, I went in with another Makeup Geek blush because I just had this palette in front of me still. And I wanted to use this shade. I think this one's called Bliss. Yeah, so I used this shade right here. It's like a peachy blush, and it's called Bliss. I really like that one still. And then for my highlight, this one's actually a really nice one from e.l.f. This is the e.l.f. my God, it doesn't even have a name. Oh, it does have a name. It's like super small though. Like, look how small this sticker is. Like the name is on there. Usually like on a lot of drugstore compacts, they have like a huge sticker on the back that says the name. So I don't know why this one's so tiny. Anyway, this is the e.l.f. highlighter in the shade White Gold. And it almost comes off like a little bit too white, but it does show up really nicely on the face. So I wanted to use that today. And then I just set my face with my Do It spray again, and then just set my brows with my ColourPop Brow Boss Gel. And then originally I wanted to use a ColourPop lippy. This is the Moana one, but it wasn't exactly the color that I wanted, so I just threw on my e.l.f. sheer stick again in the shade Golden Pear. I'm probably going to bring this with me traveling, along with like maybe 2 other ultra glowing lips from ColourPop, because they're just like the easiest lippies to throw on. But I'm probably definitely going to bring this with me. Do you see how much I've used of this already? Like, I might use this up at some point, because look at how, well, actually, yeah, even when I twist it all the way down, it's pretty much all the way up here. All right, so that's it. So I'll see you guys for another look tomorrow. Okay, so hey there, guys. So I wanted to tell you guys about another makeup look for today. I cannot speak because I am tired. I actually ended up working today because someone ended up not being able to make it because they were not feeling well. So she worked for like 2 hours, and then she asked me if I could come in and close for her because she wasn't feeling well. So at least I got another shift that way, and now I don't have to worry about working until after my trip, till I get back from my trip. So I primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and then I used my Dewdrop lip oil, and then I just set my eyes and my face with the Dior Backstage powder. I don't have to talk about it twice, but I love this powder. It's extremely lightweight, and it's in the shade 0N0 Neutral. And then for my eyes today, I wanted to go in with the Nomad Royal Europe palette, and then I also used a bit of the Hudson Valley palette as well. So I'll just tell you the shades that I used in the Royal Europe palette first, because I mostly did use this palette. I mean, I only used 4 shades. So I wanted to stick with like the more mustardy tones this time. And I also just wanted to dip into this palette again before I go away, because I've been really wanting to. So I've just been wanting to use like a couple of different palettes this week, because I've been testing out the Ace Beauté and the Simply Posh palette. So I started off with the shade, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's the mustardy brown. So I took that in my crease. And then I took the shade Neptune Fountain on the outer corners, because I used a shade from the Hudson Valley palette in my defining area. And then for the lid shade, I just wanted to use Imperial Crown all over the lid. And it's such a gorgeous like gold multi-chrome. And then for the lower lash line, I just wanted to add a pop of blue, so I used the shade Hall of Mirrors. And that's all I used from this palette, but at least I got to dip back into it again. And then for the Hudson Valley palette, I only used 2 shades out of here, but I thought that these mustardy tone browns would pair nicely with the ones in the Royal Europe palette, so I thought that they would go nicely. And then I get to dip into a couple of shades in here, so I just used the shade Great Pumpkin Patch to define right here. And then for the inner corners, I just popped on Leaf Peeping, and it's that really beautiful like yellowy gold on the inner corners. So yeah, I really liked how the look turned out. It lasted all day because the Royal Europe palette lasts amazingly on the eyes. And then for my liner, I used the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Outer Space, because I really wanted to just tie in that pop of blue. And then for my mascara, I just used my Gwen Stefani Can't Stop Staring mascara, and then my Essence Lash Primer and the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes as per usual. And then for my face, I'm still trying to stick with pretty hydrating products, so I just used my Do It spray from Fourth Ray Beauty, and then the Star Glow Super Gel Primer. And I actually really like how my skin looks right now, even though it's not doing its best. Oh my god, like literally everything falls out of this. Jesus. Fucking hell. It's so friggin' annoying sometimes. And then for my face, for my foundation, I just wanted to go in with the Makeup by Mario foundation. This is the Surreal Skin foundation in the shade 1C. I really do enjoy this foundation. It makes my skin look beautiful, and this one is just easier to wear with the state of my skin right now. It's just really dry and crusty, and I hate it. And then for my concealer, I just use the LYS Triple Fix Concealer because this is also a great one to use in the shade LG3. And then I just set my face again with the Dior powder, like I said earlier. And then I just went in with my Pat McGrath Labs Naked Desire bronzer because I just wanted to use that today. And then for blush, I did go in with my Pat McGrath blush as well. I just used the shade Desert Orchid because, like, I kind of had to, like, throw my face products together pretty quickly because I already knew, like, if I did end up working today, I knew what eyeshadow palettes I was planning on wearing, and because I already knew that I was going to wear this blue easy sweater. I really love this sweater. It's so easy to wear. So I just went in with Desert Orchid from Pat McGrath, which is like my favorite nude bronzy blush ever. So I just used that. And then for my highlight, I went in with a really old one, but a goodie. And this is Moonstone by Becca Cosmetics. This is one of the Shimmering Skin Perfectors. This was my very first Becca highlighter, and it's still absolutely stunning. It still looks gorgeous on the skin. And then I just set my face with my Milk Makeup Spray, and then I just went through my brows with my e.l.f. Wow Brow. And then for my lips, I used the ColourPop Lippie Pencil in the shade Ashton, and then I used the Makeup by Mario Lippie in the shade Sierra because I haven't used it in a little while. Even though it is a little bit lighter for this look today, I think it still looks pretty. So yeah, that's it. Bye. I'll see you for another look tomorrow. Okay, so hey guys, I just wanted to tell you guys about another makeup look today. So I just wanted to do an easy, simple face of makeup because my skin is still not in like the best condition. You can still see a little bit of the redness here, but my skin is not feeling like all the dryness has been sucked out of my face. I mean, all of the hydration, I mean. And also, it's not as flaky as it's been. Like, for the past couple of days, it's been like flaking around all around my mouth and under my eyes. But today, it seems to be doing better because I got some aloe vera products last night. And I used those last night, and it seemed to really help my skin. So, and my skin also doesn't feel like it's burning today because the past couple of days, it's been feeling really tight and like super red and just like burning. So now it seems to be doing better today. So hopefully it'll be completely healed by the time I go to California next week. So that's why I just wanted to do light makeup today. I'm just running a couple of errands today, and then I'm also going to film my favorites video later. So I just really want to go. It's like 2 o'clock now. So I primed my eyes with my ColourPop Party Proof Primer, and then I just used my ColourPop Dewdrop Lip Oil, and then of course my Pretty Fresh powder to set my eyes. And then I went in with the ColourPop Snow White palette today, just because I wanted to use ColourPop again today because, like I said, I was testing new palettes last week, so I just really wanted to dip back into this one because I really wanted to use this white shimmer because I was just planning on wearing a white t-shirt today. I didn't put on my jewelry yet. I'm about to because I'm about to leave the house. So I just used Someday in the crease. Then I darkened up the crease more with Carried Away. And then I used In the Land on the outer corners. And then like I said, I wanted to use Spellbreaker all over the lid. And it's just a really pretty, like, super white shadow. And then I used, what is it called? With a Smile on the brow bone. And then I just took Ever After on the inner corner. And that's all I did for eyeshadow today. And I think it turned out really pretty. And then for my waterline, I just used a nude liner today because I didn't want to use white because I just didn't want it to be too stark. So I just went in with my LA Girl Ultimate Intense Auto Liner in the shade Super Bright. And then I just used my ColourPop Act Natural mascara on my top lashes. And then, of course, I don't know how the heck I get so much makeup underneath my nails. And then I just used my Essence Lash Primer and then the Maybelline Lash Discovery on the bottom lashes. And then for my face, I just used the same primer that I've been using the past couple of days, the Do It Spray, and then the Say Star Glow Super Gel Primer. I said Star Glow. And then for my face, I just wanted to go in with a super lightweight product. So I just used the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I love this stuff in the shade fair. It's just like super easy to put on like troubled skin. And then for my concealer, I just went in with my can I speak English? My e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Fair Warm. And then I just set my face with my ColourPop Pretty Fresh powder, and then I set my under eyes and everything with the Haus Labs Biotech blurring powder, this guy right here. And then for my bronzer, I wanted to use the Ilia Drawn In Night Light bronzing powder, and this is the shade Drawn In, like I just said. I was going to use the Milani, but I was like, I haven't used that one in a little while, so I wanted to use that one. And then for my blush, I wanted to go in with one of the Snow White blushes. So this one is the shade I Wish I Wish, and this shade is so pretty. I really love the blushes from this collection. They are so stunning on the skin, and it's just a really pretty, like, peachy, glowy blush. It's just gorgeous on the skin. And then for my highlight, I wanted to go in with something that was just easy to go over troubled skin, and something that was just like a little bit, you know, white, but not like too stark white. So I just used my Rare Beauty highlighter in the shade Enlighten. And this is like a stunning, I'm trying to hold it with my cut finger. Did I say I cut my finger on a knife this morning? I was cutting my bagel, like slicing it, and I accidentally cut my finger. So I really don't do that with knives. I don't even remember the last time I cut my finger on a knife. I think it's been like 10 years at least. So yeah, it was just a little bit careless. So I gotta be more careful. So I used this shade, and it's such a stunning, stunning highlighter. Do you see how like intense and beautiful that is? And then I just set my face with my Do It spray again. And then I just set my brows with my ColourPop Brow Boss gel. And then for my lips, I wanted to use the Rare Beauty tinted lip oil in the shade Joy again, because I think it's just such a pretty color to tie in with the peachy crease. All right, I'm going to go. See you tomorrow for another look. Bye.